Hello War Thunder's Western community. In this video I want to explain why the CIS audience of the game is voting against changes to APSE shells mechanics. I don't expect you to support us, but since there is no real bridge connecting our communities, we essentially play the same game but hardly communicate with each other. That's why I think it might be interesting for you to learn about our perspective and how we perceive the current situation. Reason number one. There is a little trust in War Thunder's developer when it comes to change in the game, especially when it concerns something that already works. Gaijin has an extraordinary talent for breaking everything they supposedly improve. A simple example is the recent nerf to ATGM, which turned their carriers into useless targets that are no longer interesting to play. Similarly, all the recent map changes have also not been beneficial. We don't believe in improvements from Gaijin, we believe in nerfs. Reason number two. We are quite satisfied with the current damage of armor-piercing height explosive shells. We are hardcore community that came to this game over 10 years ago because of its historical accuracy in game, as we initially thought, and the low time to kill. We don't want to spend 4 or 5 shots on a target with penetrations, as it works in World of Tanks. However, we are unhappy with the damage of the other types of ammunition. Head shells, solid armor, piercing round, APCR, head shells and other. All of those are secondary shells in our game for now, and that's all need to be buffs. Reason number 3. War Thunder has turned into a pseudo-historical game with double standards. When it suits someone, they add markers, red respawn zones, vulnerability mechanics, and even non-existent characteristics, like reload speed. But when realism doesn't benefit the developer or allowed and active part of the community, it's discarded and call it a gameplay convention. That's why nerf APSE shells in the name of realism sounds like a joke for us. If you want to implement realistic damage, then it should be done fully, with concussion effects and kinetic damage. But not like it is working now, when a 130mm shell from an E7 can simply disappear in the tin armor of the Leopard 1. Our SPGS artillery tanking and survive better than medium and heavy tanks and Soviet or other MBTs can capable of tanking a direct hit from 1000 pound bomb. There is no realism in this game anymore. Reason 4. We don't even want to test those changes. The game currently has a ton of critical issues. Just name at least one aspect of the game that works well now. You can't. Everything in this game is broken, from balance and matchmaking to sound and graphics. We would much rather test a new matchmaking system, where we are not constantly at the bottom of the list, than a shell nerf. As my colleague said, you don't have to taste shit to know it's a shit, you just need to look at it. Reason number 5. Nerfing the damage to commanders' hatches and other protruding areas, I hope you understand what I say, makes the game even more random and reduce the variation of ways to defeat enemy vehicles. We didn't ask for the game to be dumbed down and more casual. We are quite satisfied that some tanks have vulnerable spots on the front that can be hit even when you're at the bottom of the battle rating list. We'd like to have the option to engage in frontal combat rather than constantly having to flanking and outmaneuver. Reason 6. We don't like that the developer is trying to cater to newcomers and weaker players who haven't learned how to expose their commander's hatches and avoid taking damage, or who struggle to hit similar weak spots on enemy vehicles and get upset because of it. The attempt to use damage nerf as way to suppress skill is unacceptable for us. It's normal that a noob can't play on the same level as an experienced player. That's why he is a noob. It's better to teach them how to play correctly, to guide them, rather than figuring out how to cover up all those weak spots and reduce time to kill, to decrease the effectiveness of the strong players. And the final 7th reason. The APS shells is the best shell in the game, which still manages to maintain decent average damage in War Thunder at a playable level. If the AP shells gets nerfed, no one can guarantee you that overall damage in this game wouldn't get worse, and the game wouldn't turn into something akin World of Tanks. The APSE shell still demonstrates what damage can be and how it was in the past of this game before the developer decided to nerf everything what can fire. Of course, I can't speak for every single player in the CIS community. However, I believe I've outlined the position of those who are voting against the changes. We are not bots or idiots. On the contrary, very few top players would support a damage nerf or add more random in this game. And it's not about pseudo-patriotism or Soviet bias. The CIS community doesn't play only on Soviet tanks. It would be better to improve the effectiveness of other shells than to kill one of the last still working one. Let's hope, Western comrades, that we all avoid burning in the fire of nuclear war, so take care of yourself and goodbye.